Shabbat Shalom, greetings to you all. Thank you, friends, for joining me. I always do appreciate it. It's always a pleasure to see you every week, taking some time to join with me. Well, I'll be away for weddings and some journeys over the next couple of weeks. And I'm looking forward to seeing my good friend Michael. And I'm so honored to be officiating at his son's wedding. If there were an Olympics for weddings, we would be going for the gold. And then I'm looking forward to seeing two great friends who I have not seen in far too long. So in the meantime, let's all join together. Send out healing to our friend Bob and anyone you know in need of healing. Just call out or think their names. They will feel it. To all those in need of renewal, in need of healing, energy and spirit, know no boundaries for everyone, everywhere. Mi Shabbat Avotenu Makor HaBracha Limotenu. May the source of strength who blessed the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. Let us all have our spirits renewed, my friends. Misha Baruch. Well, friends, we're rapidly coming up on the end of another year of Torah readings. And I'm so honored and humbled by the fact you've stuck with me, sharing your sacred time and your sacred space with me. I hope you continue to get something from the weekly time we have together. And I think it is great that you can go back in time anytime and watch or listen again. And this week marked the beginning of the Hebrew month of Elul, the month that has the least holidays in the year, but marks the beginning of the countdown to the high holy days of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, the so-called days of awe. Now, they really are fantastic at an amazing time of the year, not accidentally. And as we get closer, we'll talk about their significance, what they stand for, and what we add to Elul. And I will remind you, I will do a service again for each of those holy days that you could watch in place of or in addition to whatever your regular observances may be. And I hope you join me then. And I certainly hope that Bruce and Ellen are enjoying their journey, one of those once-in-a-lifetime trips we probably all dream about, going through the deepest jungles of Africa. And so I hope you will forgive me, but I thought this was a perfect tune. Deep in the jungle where the mighty tiger lies, Bruce and Ellen were taken by surprise. So Captain Marvel zapped him right between the eyes. All the children sing. What a great song. And how apropos for the journey that they're on. Well, friends, welcome to Shoftim, Judges. And there's some fabulous things in this parsha, as there are in every parsha. Deuteronomy 16:18. There shall be judgment with justice. Now, what a unique statement. What else could there be? What else should there be? It should be obvious, but regrettably, it needs to be said. Judgment and justice are not the same thing. Judges and lawyers can be part of an incredibly noble endeavor of humankind, the law. But when they fail to pursue justice in their performance of judgment, they pervert and degrade the law and demean humankind. Nothing less. The same goes for clerks, bailiffs, law enforcement officers, and everyone and anyone else involved in the execution of justice. They elevate or lower themselves and all of us by the degree of their commitment to justice. You shall not bend judgment. You shall not recognize a face. You shall not take a bribe, because bribery will blind the eyes of the wise and undermine the words of the virtuous. Again, need this have been said? Is not this obvious also? Friends, from the 15th century, Lady Justice has been pictured wearing a blindfold, representing objectivity That justice is without fear or favor, without wealth, power, or identity, blind and impartial. No bribe, no prejudgment. And it's interesting that we read this as we begin the countdown to the month of judgment. Something for us to keep in mind as we near it, as we begin to see how it applies to us, and it does apply to us. Now, friends, as you read this, you will keep spotting the things that we talked about before that tell you this book was written later. The references to the gates. This is a later feature of cities, and we know this is about cities because individuals did not have gates. Even where it was referenced, a couple of weeks earlier in the Shema, we've interpreted it as instructions to put mezuzot in our doorways, but it was written for the city. There's also more references to communal society and living, and that points to a later time also. That was an important feature as we return to the concept of justice and judgment. Deuteronomy 17:6, on the word of 2 witnesses or 3 witnesses shall the one who is to die be put to death. One shall not be put to death on the word of 1 witness. Remember, it took 2 witnesses for capital crimes. One was not enough. They were to be involved. Execution was a communal event. The hand of the witnesses shall be against him first. Now, it is, of course, significant that witnesses must know that if they testify against someone in a capital case, they will have to strike the first blows against the defendant themselves. That conveys vividly how serious their testimony is. Capital punishment is the act of a community in ancient Israel, and even more so in democracies. In biblical law, the community must know that if they're going to have capital punishment, they must understand this means the community as a whole is taking lives, and lives are sacred. So that there can be no mistaking the point. The entire community must participate in the execution. In post-biblical societies, where the entire people does not participate personally, this point can be easily forgotten. But for now, all the people had to carry out the execution, and that was one of the forces that led Israel to make capital punishment almost impossible during the days of rabbinic law. Now, it is thought that participation would compel the witnesses to be very cautious about their testimony. Although, I'm sure there are times that may not have been true, but the need for 2 witnesses as a precaution, which we read about earlier, was inculcated in the law and practice, which is why throughout this book, Moses continues to call on 2 witnesses himself for everything he says. And each time he calls as his witnesses heaven and earth. And as witnesses go, they are pretty good. Now, another clue this book may have been written much later is found in Deuteronomy 17:17, as a society designed to function without a monarchy is now predicting monarchy. And while there may be the desire for a king, there is a warning attached. And let him not get himself many wives, that his heart not swerve. Let him not get himself too much silver and gold. And it shall be, when he sits on his throne of kingship, that he shall write for himself a repetition of this teaching in a book before the Levitical priests. Of course, a repetition of this teaching is in Hebrew, Mishnah HaTorah Hazot, a phrase we will hear a lot that we heard before, and that may be why I say this book itself may be one of these repetitions of teachings, because it is. You will see it's a repetition of all the teachings we'd seen before with some minor differences. And the many horses, the many wives, the silver and gold are all associated with the extravagances of royal, indeed imperial pomp. And unfortunately, that also does not look like it too was observed. Friends, had we listened, would we be facing the problems we face now? And of course, it's not just any king, but as we see in Deuteronomy 17:15, it will be a king whom God will choose. Now, this means that a prophet must designate the king as chosen by God. And this suggests Israel had a constitutional monarchy with a written constitution for more than 1,000 years before the Common Era. Now, the connection between justice, good leadership, is obvious. Both require no preconceptions, and the good of everything be balanced. And everything is everything. We are all connected in the rules and laws that we read about don't just apply to man, they apply to how man treats the earth. Now, we were all told in school that we were something like 70% water, although apparently the average is like 60%, and we accept it. But we don't think of us as being the same as water. Now, something like 98.8% of human DNA is the same as a chimp. So we're not that different. But do you think of yourself as a monkey? Now, if you do not think you and a rock are also the same, then reduce everything to its molecular, or better still, its atomic structure. And lo and behold, we are the same as everything else. Protons, electrons, neutrons. And like light going through a prism, which is a fantastic demonstration, and I love using it, there's only one source, but the energy bends and vibrates at different speeds, creating different colors, creating differences. But still the component parts are all the same. We vibrate at different speeds, and we just continue to vibrate at a different speed than the chimp, than the rock, than everything else, because we are all connected, friends. We are all the same. The drifting of justice, the greed of rulership and privilege is the result of ego. The underlying lesson of priesthood, of sacrosanctity to God, to creation, to the essence of all there is, was found in setting aside the human ego, which is why to be truly free, we eat the egoless bread of the priest, matzah, as the cornerstone of the annual Festival of Freedom. And the reason for the warning to the king, to the elite, was so that his heart be not haughty over his brothers. Haughty, elevated, arrogantly superior, ego. The language of brotherhood, earlier used to link affluent and indigent, here links monarch and subjects. Friends, there is much here, and you will also notice a new phrase introduced, which has been with us ever since. Deuteronomy 19:1. The Lord your God. But it does not say Lord. No. It names God. The four-letter divine name, the Yud, He, Vav, He, the Tetragrammaton, Yahweh. He who causes being, the name that God introduced himself to Moses to in Exodus. Not to be confused with any other. It is a name. Yes, this is an organic book, calling for ongoing review. If a matter of judgment will be too daunting for you, then you shall get up. Go to the place the Lord your God will choose. Authorities in law and religion in each age shall determine what to do. This has always been the case in Judaism. That's why now there are several branches. The primary consideration when authorities, including scholars and rabbis, determine that a law is changed is that they do so with wisdom and reverence, not with arrogance. It is not about simply looking to the past, but about considering the present, the future, about the wheels of time. And friends, this parsha, this thought, actually helped to inspire a great song which came from this, a great thought, all about judging. Don't want to judge nobody. Don't want to be judged. Don't want to touch nobody. Don't want to be touched. Don't want to hurt nobody. Don't want to be hurt. Don't want to treat nobody like they was dirt. If you do right to me, baby, do right to you too. Got to do unto others like you have them, like you have them. Do unto you. We all have to do unto others as we want to have them do unto us. The world is sacred. So is everything in it. Express your gratitude. Light a candle, make a wish. Celebrate your life and the lives of those you love. Share your feelings with them. Live free, be free, honor your freedom. Be well, be happy, be blessed. Share and honor the light and all who live in the light, and continue to shine. Continue to send to everybody that you know goodwill and love. Pray for peace and freedom for everyone. An end to terror and hatred. Remember, friends, we are a community. We learn together, we celebrate each other, we love each other. We share this ride together, men and women equally. Let us send out love, not fear. Send out peace, harmony, good healing to all who need it. Please do. Learn to forgive, learn to love. Open your hearts, honor the relationships of your life. Tell those you love that you love them. Take advantage of the time you have. Enjoy the journey. We take the twists and turns and the patterns that weave through the fabric of our lives in our effort to grow, to learn, to be, to love. So please do love. Send healing, goodwill, and love to all who need it. Share your holiness. Now bless you all. Have a fantastic week, a week of love and light, a week of peace and healing. For you to honor the people of your life, honor the journey you were on, honor yourselves. And friends, keep your eyes open to what you may not be seeing. Keep your ears open and listen to the world around you in this book of words. And remember, this is an organic book. The lessons, the laws, the ethics, the ritual changes with the times. It is how it stays current, relevant, new, meaningful, and continues to provide us all with insight and with answers. God knows there's an answer. God knows it's all in place. God knows it might be working right now, looking us straight in the face. Ain't a rhyme or reason. I know it can't be wrong. It was supposed to last a season, but it's been so strong for so long. It has been so strong for so long. Yes, friends, and it will continue to be because you make it so. Do not stop your journey. Do not stop moving towards your promised land. It is in sight. Keep on dreaming, keep on being, keep sharing, keep shining, keep teaching. Keep spreading your holiness. Do not follow fear. Now, thank you all for joining me, for participating, for sharing your lives, your love, your time with me. I so appreciate it. I love you all. I look forward to seeing you all next week. Be well until then. Take care. Shabbat shalom. All the best. Bye.